Are we ready to start the meeting?
Sure.
Just give me a couple more minutes, sir.
Yes. Hey, I have everybody in here, Crystal, in my area, so they're just gonna hear me live.
Recording
Okay,
in
you're good.
progress.
You're good.
You gotta be able to hear it.
You're good. So we have 36 online, plus what you have in your office, plus what we have probably in shop.
And then we have the field trip that is going to Legacy High School. So I think there's about 8 buses going over there. So those won't be on.
Right, and so we'll have those, we'll have information for those when they get back. Yes, sir.
I can hear it, right? Y'all gonna have to stay super quiet. Make sure we turn off the cell phones.
Mr. De La Cruz, do you want me to share the agenda or would you like to share it? Go ahead and share it. Yes, sir.
Krista, I'm getting ready to start.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for showing up for the meeting. Before we get started, we have a lot of people that are turning their cameras off. Would you please be kind enough to turn on the camera so we know that you're there and we can take attendance, please? And Crystal, you will print out the attendance for me, right? Because this needs to be attached for Jennifer for the pay for the hour meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll have it attached. Yes, sir.
Okay, we're getting ready to start. Thank you for joining the meeting. First of all, I want to go over something that was approved by the board last week. Last week, the board approved, I don't know if you remember, we had 3 early dismissals on February, March, and April. So that is going to happen again. So please put it on your calendar. The first one will be February the 16th. You will have an early dismissal. So when I say early dismissal, middle school is getting out at 11:45 a.m. Elementary school is getting out at 12:15 p.m. and the high schools will be out at 1 o'clock. This is February the 16th on a Wednesday. Okay, and then the other one will be in March 23rd, and then the other one will be in April. But we will put them on the board to make sure to remind you, okay, because our buses need to be staged, ready to pick up the middle school 11:30. So you're wondering about the clock-in time. So all drivers and bus aides will clock in at 11 o'clock, or if you're a later clock in, it'll be the 11:15. Those are the ones that clock in later. So everybody on that day, on February the 16th, will clock in at 11 a.m. because the middle school will be releasing at 11:45 a.m. So that is going to be a quick day. Make sure that on your fuel, you make sure that you check it on Monday and Tuesday to be, it's going to have to be Monday and Tuesday because there will probably be no fueling on Wednesday because it is going to be a quick turnaround. By the time you drop them off and you get you situated, you have to turn around and clock in and go get the students on that day. So please, make sure you put this on your calendar. The next thing I want to talk about is we have some staff members here at the department that exceeded their 10 days and they're requesting days off. I just want to let you know that we are going to have some conferences be held for the absences and the tardiness to let you know where you stand. And so remember, when I print out these absences, it will show if you were on the COVID leave or if you were on an FMLA leave. So those will not be counted against you. It is just the days that you have been taken for the absences, and some of you are out of absences and requesting. So we need to have those conversations to help better our absences. Also, just so you know, if you take these absences, it puts a burden on everybody else, and so we need to have these conversations to help everybody to be here and work and to get our kids and to make sure that we are doing well and keeping up our job with the attendance. Okay. And if you have any questions, we can have those side conversations with me, Mr. De Cruz, or the supervisors. That will be coming up to you when I print out the attendance for the supervisors. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is our transportation building. As you know, they've been renovating our building since March. The phase 1 is getting ready to be completed. So we're going to move everything from the back, from the supervisors to the dispatch to our PPE kit, our bus drivers and bus aides boxes and the field trip. All that will be in the training room now. So we're hoping by the end of this week, starting next week, you probably see some of us to start moving in there, and the time clock will be up in the front. So I want to let you know, yes, we'll be opening it up, but it's not going to be an area where we're going to lunge around and have everything in there. It's still going to be kind of compact for all the other areas that we need to have in there. So when you come in, you will come in through the front door, and then you'll come into the side door to get your PPE box, to check your box, and to check if any field trips and all that. So all the area will be used, but it's not going to be used to lounge around and have a sit down and conversation on that because of the space that will be limited. But that will be taking place pretty soon. Hopefully next week we can start moving on that. It's going to be kind of an awkward situation because I don't know how we're going to do the movement. Hopefully it'll be our downtime between the 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock where we can move that stuff and it doesn't interfere with the dispatching and supervising to take care of your areas. But we're going to try to coordinate it where everything will be smooth. And so once that happens, remind you would not be able to go into the back area now. So all that area will be shut down by the construction company starting soon so they can finish up the back area. But if once you see the building is starting to take shape, it's starting to take place, it's a wonderful building. You can see that it's going to comfort everybody in there, being in there with the new paint, the new floor, and the new lighting, and the new air conditioners that they have done. So that building has not been touched in probably no more than 22 years. And so it's going to make a big difference. And hopefully this will welcome you, everybody in the building. Okay. Those are the announcements that I have. I see Mr. De La Cruz's agenda. He's got some information on there. So I will turn it over to him.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And I was scrolling down the views of people turning on their cameras. Thank you for doing so. Help us justify you getting paid during these meetings by you being an active participant. It's kind of hard to justify pay if someone has a blank screen and you want to get paid for whatever amount of time we have this meeting. So help us justify that. And you've done that. Great. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. So the next item that I have, and it's short and simple, it's the driving on the lot here at Transportation. Remember that the speed limit is 10 miles per hour. And one of the other things that's becoming an issue is people not following the direction, the directional arrows, the parking lot. I was hoping to get that, the map with the arrows on it, but I'll post it later this afternoon or tomorrow when I get a copy of it. It's please make sure you follow the arrows. It's cutting across the rows is prohibited. And I was having a conversation with the supervisors, and I told them, you know, does it really make sense to have them back up if there's no buses in front of them or on the side of them? And the comment that was made to me, it's a good way to practice their skills. You know what? That makes sense. So as much as you think that, oh, it's easy to just drive across when there's no buses in the arrows, you know, or in the slots, should I say, practice your skill and go in reverse. You know, I really don't want to see, and I'm going to be quite frank about it. I do not want to see people cutting across arrows or rows, should I say, when you're departing your parking spot. I'm just going to leave it at that. It shouldn't happen. The expectation is stop doing that practice. Please, it's the last thing we want to do is have a conversation as to what's the justification for maybe having a mishap out there. All right. So let's not do that, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are professional. You guys know what you're doing. So keep up those good practices or best practices. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please come and see one of us. You know, we're always open to that. And I think Mr. Tamayo was going to be asking to have those lines painted because they're very faint. I know you can barely see them, especially in the mornings or evening, late in the evenings. So we're going to see if we can get that parking lot painted too. Aside from getting our building freshened up, we probably need to definitely get our parking lot also freshened up with a new paint job. Okay.
Can I interrupt real quick, Mr. De La Cruz?
Yes, sir.
Also, the special needs drivers, I know when you're lining up your buses, some of them are running up in the long line, and I understand that it's hard to see and everything, but try to make a mark where you know if you park there every day and you can't see the number. Try to make the mark know. Look at bus numbers, look at the slots, look at what bus numbers in front of you. That way you know you're parking in the right place. So I wanted to bring that up because they're saying that the special needs lineup is thrown off by somebody just lining up the bus on the wrong slot. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the last thing is this morning, we have made some announcements about making sure to turn on your strobe lights when you're leaving. It was misty and somewhat lightly foggy out there. Please don't forget those safety features. You know, it's turn them on. Especially if we announce it over dispatch, right? But don't forget to turn on those things. Any resource that you have on that bus to help that driver behind you see you, you know, we already know that how distracted driving is a big issue right now. So if any other additional safety feature that we can have for that driver to identify you that you're in front, please do so. Because when I was standing out there after the announcement, I must have seen about 5 or 6 buses drive off with their strobe lights off. So please, let's be safe out there, right? Once again, if you have any questions, come and see me. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I know that we have some that we have for Thursday or Friday, and we'll be addressing those in a little while. So next up is Linda, I believe.
Crystal, can you scroll that up for me, please? Good morning, everyone. Regarding field trips, if there are any changes, if you're handed either a blank driver sheet or the one that is printed on, if there are any changes, if you get on a different bus, or if you're the backup because the other one canceled, please make those changes for me on that paperwork. And if you're declining a trip, make sure make sure you sign the ticket and then turn it into the supervisor. And also, yeah, turn it in and make note. Also, if a trip is canceled, make note of it, write across it, put canceled, and turn that in also. I need to keep track of all these things. If there are no students on your trips, middays, make note 0 students, so I don't charge the mileage on those. And also, transportation, we do not have control over cancellations. That is by the school or the teachers. So when a trip is canceled last minute, I have nothing to do with that. It's the schools that cancel it. If, you know, the day before, the day of, when you're there parked in the driveway at the school, they make those cancellations. I do not have control over that. We've been having a lot of cancellations due to COVID closures or some of the campuses, as far as like the colleges, they're going virtual. So they've been canceling those trips. And if you have a question or concern regarding cancellations and trip replacements, please see me or Mr. De La Cruz. When they are canceled, I do go back and fill those cancellations. You need to understand that the very next trip, you may not be the one to get it because of your cancellation. I have to go by, you know, your routes. So, yeah, when trips are assigned, your preferences and routes are being considered. So maybe you only do Saturdays, you don't do days, you only do evenings because of middays. I have to take all of that into consideration when I assign a trip. I don't just go by the next person, so it's not going to always be alphabetically. And please check your boxes daily. Sometimes you have multiple sheets. Some of you have middays, some of you have the college run, some of you have the tutoring, and then the field trips on top of that. Please check the dates to make sure that you do have the right trip ticket for the appropriate trip. And please turn them in daily. I'm trying to stay ahead of the game on this to get everything calculated and documented, so I know what trips are missing. That's all I have. Thank you.
And Linda, one thing that I wanted to add was that on the selection of cancellation and who's going to be next, one of the things that Linda has done is taken into consideration, because we needed people to be on the field trip list, is those considerations about, well, I only do Saturday, like she said, or I only do evenings, meaning after the PM runs, right? Or I only do middays. It's so, I know we have in the handbook, it's who's next, but because we needed to add more people, you know, she's accommodating for those limited accommodations. In other words, those people can only do Saturdays. So it's not immediately going to be because I know there's some concerns about people, oh, I'm being skipped. It's not that you're being intentionally skipped, is we got to get to those people that haven't had a trip because of those limitations. And she has to go back and it's all, we have it on the spreadsheet. There's nothing to hide. So give it some time, please. It'll get to you, but please be aware of that. That is not happening. It's not happens that, oh, we're just going to pick this person and that's it. She does have a process, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, supervisors, I believe you're next.
Good morning, everybody. I have a couple of things that I wanted to let our department know. We will be having a refresher special needs team and regular driver meeting on student management with concerns and issues. We've had some issues that have erupted because of different situations, the pandemic, students now just coming back to face-to-face, where some of them have been out for the COVID and so forth. So again, the meeting will be announced for the date and the time. We'll be posting it and we'll let everybody know. As you know, we've had some concerns or we've had some issues come up on special needs and regular. Again, remember, we have special needs students riding on regular buses as well. So this is going to be kind of a refresher, kind of getting everybody back on track as to, you know, when situations like whatever issues we've been having come up. This is what we have in place, and kind of give you some guidelines and guiding you into how to deal with these situations. So that date for that meeting will be announced at a later time. The other thing is, I wanted to speak to y'all about Here Comes the Bus. I don't know if everybody's aware of it. I know Mr. De La Cruz has spoken about that many times on our Zoom meetings. But again, we need to remember that this Here Comes the Bus app is for everybody, special needs and regular students. This helps the parents know where are their buses. Again, these routes that we are running, we have to run them the way they are supposed to be. Otherwise, some parents are really on top of it. You know, they'll look at the app and then they'll turn around and look on Info Finder and say, hey, you know what? This bus isn't coming here at this time. It says it's supposed to be here at this time and it's coming at this time. So can you explain what's going on? And of course, at that point, we don't have the information right there and then, other than pull you up on GPS and look to see if you're running the route the way you're supposed to, and come to find out, you know, that particular driver is not running the route the way he's supposed to. So I need to emphasize that when you're running your route, make sure that you run it the way it is on the route description. If there is something that you need to change or you need to update, because things have changed and things have been updated. So please come to Daniel, get them updated so that when we send a sub driver to go run the route, that sub driver runs the route exactly the way the regular driver runs it. So please make sure everything is kind of connected. So if you do the route the way you're supposed to, the parents get the same information, the Info Finder gets the information, and then we don't get the calls here, just because a lot of that gets answered through Here Comes the Bus. Again, I need to emphasize, if you have any changes on your route, please come and see Daniel with those changes so that he can update the route. That's all I have.
Good morning, everybody. What I'm going to be talking about is about the MSB Forms, and that's really for special needs drivers and aides. This past few weeks, we had a lot of confusion going on with the holidays, and we added the 2 weeks after we came back from the holidays. And I don't know, if you don't have a calendar, let me know so I could go ahead and give you the calendar, because we're going based on that calendar. Since we had those 2 weeks off from the holidays, there were some people that turned them in with different dates. So just make sure, guys, that we look at those calendars to make sure that this way I don't have to return those MSB forms back to y'all so y'all could correct them. I'm still missing some, and y'all are doing real good about turning them in. Just make sure you sign them, you date them, and you initial. Right underneath where you put if they were absent, make sure you put your initials in there, and that's for the bus aide and bus driver. Like I said before, I'm still missing some. So if I left you a note, go ahead and see me before the end of the day, because I really need those. We need to make copies and we need to turn them in. The other thing I was going to be talking about is the PPE kits. We still have people that are forgetting their PPE kits. I know Mr. De La Cruz talked about this the last meeting. We still have people that are leaving them behind. And guys, it's really important for you to take those PPE kits with you. And the reason is really to protect you and protect the students. Remember, we need to disinfect these buses after every tier, okay? And if we're not doing that, we're actually putting our guards down and somebody's gonna come out sick. We have a lot of students that are coming out sick, so we don't want you to be out You know how short we are in drivers. So guys, let's go ahead and don't put your guards down. Make sure you disinfect your bus after every tier and make sure you bring them down. The reason we're asking you to bring them down is because whenever you bring them down and you bring them into the dispatch office, we disinfect them in here. So please, guys, make sure you take them to your bus, you carry them to your bus and bring them back. And this way we are disinfecting the PPE kits at the same time. You're protecting yourself too. Okay,
Sonia, I'm gonna add to that a little bit. Sonia, I'm gonna add to that. Okay,
that's it for me. I think now it's the trainers. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to Crystal.
Sir, did you need to say something? Sotomayor, did you need to say something? I don't hear him.
can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you now.
Yes, I want to add to Sonia what we were saying about the PPE kits. Also, bus drivers and bus aides, what you need to understand, parents are calling the transportation department about if we are still disinfecting the bus. So we are letting them know. Also, it's publicized in the website about our protocols about the buses. So that is still in place. So we want to make sure that the bus drivers and bus aides are doing their job of disinfecting the buses, because the parents are still cautious about bringing their kids on the buses and everything. So we're letting them know that it is happening. And then, bus drivers, for the workers that come out every Saturday morning, they disinfect the buses on that day too. So we are doing our protocol. So I would just want to make sure, let's all do our part about keeping our buses sanitized and clean. Thank you, Crystal.
Make sure you're not muted. All right, guys, we'll try to make this fast because I know we're in time. So I just want to briefly talk about bus conduct reports. I love the way you all document stuff, but I am getting a lot of stuff where it's very vague. When you don't give me a student's name and all you tell me is your bus and what school you think it might have come from, it's really hard for us to investigate. So I know it's really hard to catch things on your bus, especially things like graffiti. But if you're checking your bus properly, between every tier, and you're using your seating chart, you should be able to at least, I know a lot of us are doing double routes and things like that. All we can do is the best that we can. Try to get as much information as you can. Give me as much information and take pictures so that I have something to attach to that bus conduct. But just giving me a name and an ID and just telling me it's a bus seat, it gives me very little information. So if you could just make sure that you fill that out as completely as possible. Go ahead, Rose. And also, you're gonna have to say it louder because your mic isn't working.
Ah,
Okay.
okay. So can you hear me now, Miss Sonia?
Come over here.
Okay, I'm here. Okay, we're gonna say that I know it's been raining and all that, so we're asking you guys to wash the back windows. We're not asking you to wash the whole bus, just at least the back windows so that you guys are able to see out them. I know that's a big safety issue. And then also, since it's gonna be cold these next couple of days, we are gonna ask that you guys drain your tanks in between routes.
The next safety meeting,
Oh, our next safety
Tentatively.
meeting. Let me see.
the 24th.
The next safety meeting is gonna be on the 24th, hopefully, maybe. We're hoping.
Oh, staying in line at the high school, at the schools. I think we talked about that, but
Anyways, and anyone interested in Relay for Life tickets for this dance on Friday, February the 4th, please see Jackie. She still has a couple of tickets left. So if anyone's interested, please see her. First, do you got anything else to say?
no,
So, can I add something to going back to the referrals?
yes, sir, go ahead.
Recently, I have submitted myself from drivers, on behalf of the drivers, to the administrators. It does not only just help writing the bus number, but from now on, and somewhere underneath where you signed or please make sure to write or print, should I say, print your name. We see these hieroglyphic signed signatures that there might be a sub on that day for on your or a sub driver on your bus. So we wouldn't be able to identify that. So please make sure that when you sign that bus referral, to make sure you print your name and state the facts. Don't add those personal feelings. Like I told them already 3 times, you know, student has been directed 3 times to stop talking or stop moving or not jumping the seats, right? You be careful how you write them. Do not make them personal. Do not write them when you're upset. We have talked about these. These are just reminders because it is very challenging for the administrator to really take action when the parent sees your referral, because the administrator will copy down what you have. And keep this in mind, that the parent sees what you write. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, they need to see honestly what's going on. I agree, but there's a way to go about it. There's a way to go to, there's a way about notifying the parent about the behaviors, right? So please be careful with that. How you write those referrals. Don't write them with emotion. Don't write them when you're upset. Take some time, reflect, and start writing that referral. And make sure you print your name next to their signature. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And that's it for me.
One more thing really quickly, only because with all this, the weather and everything, we also want you to be very cautious of when you're leaving the schools, especially the junior high, when we're all leaving in the afternoon, to make sure that be mindful about staying in that line when you're leaving the school. We're all going to the same place, you know, we're all trying to get the kids safely. And so let's just be very cautious about that. All right, that's it for me again. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Crystal. Drivers, just want to remind you, if you have not paid attention to the weather, there's some rain coming in today. I'm predicting it's going to come in sometime during this evening. And also the cold front is coming in. So please, one thing I want to keep you in mind, take it as we're coming to work Thursday and Friday. Do not think it's a day off unless you hear something from the district, okay? So as we know, it's a go for us to come to work Thursday and Friday. So be prepared, dress warm. Like Crystal says, make sure we, the air brakes, I mean, the air tanks, make sure that we dry them off because it's going to be under the 32 below freezing. So we want to make sure those tanks are dry. And so, and the other thing I want to thank every one of you as always, day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, we always pull out and help each other get the kids home safely. And thank you for doing that. As you know, this COVID has really thrown your numbers of kids off how many kids are we carrying. I'm starting to see it that some buses are having less number. We can't make any predictions now until the kids come back 100%. If this continues, then we'll go to plan B and see what we can do to get everybody, all the students home in the first load instead of having the second load. So those are the things that we're watching, but it's too early to tell or to make these adjustments because you just never know. And I see it day to day at the high school. Some buses are empty and then the next day they could be full. It just depends how these kids are coming to school and what's going on. So I just want to say thank you for everything you do and all the hard work that you've been doing for the kids. Hold on, David has a question here. Go ahead, David.
I just wanted to know if you're gonna have the mechanics or somebody come in, or if we're gonna come in early Thursday, Friday to turn the buses on, but it takes a long time for them to warm up.
I already spoke to the shop foreman this morning. We already have a plan. And so he's aware of that and we're gonna watch the weather. And so if it gets to a certain temperature, yes, he has a plan to come in and turn on the buses for you like he did last time. All right. Any question else before we break off?
On March the 23rd, what did you say we were gonna do, clocking at 11?
The first one's is February the 16th.
And then March 23rd?
There's just going to be the same thing schedule as February, March, and then April the 20th. Those are early half-day releases. So
Also early release.
very early release. So the clock-in time for you on those days will be 11 o'clock or 11:15, depending how your adjustment comes in. Okay, so those
And April?
in April will be April the 20th.
What time?
Same time. So those are that's why all those are 11 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions before we break off? We got
I
one
have
more.
a question.
Hold on, I got Martha in here before we,
Do we force them to wear the mask?
no, it's highly encouraged. Anything with mask, we don't enforce anybody to wear a mask. It is just highly encouraged. That's the term you want to use. We highly encourage you to wear your mask. Okay. Somebody else had a question.
I have a question. It's me, Brenda. They said to drain out the tanks after every tier.
No, after your run on the PN, when you're coming in the parking lot and you're doing your post inspection, as soon as you come out, that's what you do when you come, do it after the run, after the day is ready to close down.
Okay, thank you.
Got another question here. Go ahead.
What is the policy on a skateboard? Because I know the last meeting they told us not to have the kids
Just-
with skateboard on the bus. So are we allowing them with the bus?
As far as I know, Anita's question is, what is the policy on the skateboard? As far as I know that, I know when Mr. La Cruz and I talked to both high schools. I'm thinking it's the high schools is the ones that are bringing them. There's not supposed to be any skateboards. If there's any skateboards, please get with us in De La Cruz so we could get with the administrator and give a name and they can talk to that student. Mr. La Cruz, is that what we're doing
And the issue is a lot more at
Southwest High School, right?
Southwest High School than really at Legacy. So yesterday I talked to a couple of drivers because then I talked to the students before they got on the bus, reminded them that they are not allowed on the bus. All right. So let's not make a big issue out of this. Remind the students, hey, remember that these are not allowed on the bus. You know, I'll keep it up in the front. And if the student comes up to you, gets on the bus tomorrow morning and they have it, just give them that warning. But if this is the second time after a warning, you need to let one of the administrators know, or myself if I'm out there in the morning or afternoon, so that when he gets off the bus in the morning, they take it away from him, or whatever the administrator will do, you know, or keep it in the evening, and the parent has to come pick it up. Just let's not make a big fuss about that. Just do the reminders and then seek help from me or one of the administrators that you've already told the students not to bring them on board. And the way we tell them is like, look, it's not you that we're worried about. We're worried about the kid who gets real upset and gets it and hits somebody else with it. You know, so, but then you're going to be implicated because it belongs to you, right? So you know how that goes down the line. So once again, they're not permitted, even though the campus allows it. I know it sounds contradictory in itself, but let's not make a mountain out of this issue, right? For the most part, the kids have been real good about not bringing it. I know they disguise them in some, they've gotten creative. I have to admit, there's some backpacks now that allow for that, but still somebody can get it out of that backpack and hit somebody with someone else, right? So just give those reminders, and after those reminders, get the administrator involved and ourselves. That's pretty much it.
Any other questions before we break off?
Hey, sir.
Go ahead, Kendall.
Speaking of the backpacks, yeah, they have backpacks that could conceal the entire skateboard. We are not authorized to ask them. We can't stop and search them or what do you have inside of that. But we know that it looks like a skateboardish type silhouette. How do we get around that? I mean,
Kendall, I'm going to answer to that. Usually, if they have it in the backpack and it's safe, that's a safe mode. What it is they don't want it loosely. So if you hit your brakes or if you hit somebody, it doesn't fly across the bus. You know what I'm saying? So if he's got it in the backpack and he's got it in his back or he's got it on his lap and it's wrapped, so that's pretty much, you know, it's an okay.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions before we break off? Okay, like I said, drivers, thank you for everything. Please be mindful of the weather because it might be different when you come. I'm thinking the cold front will come in between 5 and 7 o'clock, so it's going to get colder as it comes in the evening. And as you know, just want to say thank you. And this meeting is adjourned. So go ahead, have a good day. Don't forget to come in at 2:15 today. Thank you.
So 30 minutes.